Following in the footsteps of Chinese compatriots, Lenovo's decided to get into the flash sale game as well. And their entrant is the Lenovo A6000. Stellar mid-range specs, an extremely competitive price tag, decent amount of stocks per flash sale. If you're looking for a phone in this price range, Lenovo's given you every reason to consider the A6000. So in this video, let's take a closer look at the A6000 and see if it's as good as it seems to be on paper. But before we do, if this is your first time here or in case you've forgotten, my name's Ash, this is C4E Tech and you're watching my full review of the Lenovo A6000. Let's get started. As always, let's start with the built-in design. To the front, on top, we have a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, the earpiece, sensors, lower below, a 5-inch 720p display, and at the bottom, a familiar set of capacitive menu, home and back keys. Sadly, these keys aren't backlit and there's no notification LED either. To the back, we have an 8 megapixel rear camera, the LED flash, secondary noise cancelling microphone, Lenovo branding, and at the bottom, 2 speakers and Dolby branding. The back is user removable and inside we find the dual SIM and microSD card slots and a 2300 mAh user replaceable battery. It's worth noting that while the first SIM slot supports 3G and 4G, the second SIM is restricted to 2G only. Anyway, moving on, up top we have the 3.5mm headphone jack and a micro USB port. The power button and the volume rockers sit to the right, the primary microphone at the bottom, and there's nothing to the left. Overall, the A6000 feels nice in the hand. The soft touch plastic bag keeps it fingerprint free while making the phone feel secure in hand. The combination of that and the form factor meant I never felt I'd drop this phone. And add to it the fact that the A6000 weighs in at 128 grams and is just 8.2mm thick, I was happy using it single-handed. Now remember how I said fingerprint free? Sadly, that applies only to the back, cause when it comes to the display, it is a fingerprint magnet. Neither is it covered by something like Gorilla Glass, nor does it have any anti-fingerprint coating. For what it's worth, Lenovo has included a screen protector in the box. But if you can look past the fingerprints, the display is very good. It's an IPS LCD display with a resolution of 720 by 1280. That spread over 5 inches means a pixel density of 294 pixels per inch. That's pretty sharp, especially given the price. The display is bright, color reproduction's accurate, the viewing angles are great, and even sunlight legibility is okay. Overall, yes, it sucks that it's a fingerprint magnet, but it's still a good display nonetheless. Now let's talk about what's underneath. The A6000 is powered by a 64-bit capable Snapdragon 410 chip. This houses 4 Cortex A53 cores clocked at 1.2 GHz each, coupled with an Adreno 306 GPU and 1 GB of RAM. 1 GB of RAM. Going in, honestly, I was a little worried about that, but Lenovo's done a decent job here. Whether it's with the benchmarks or with real usage scenarios, the A6000 performed well. Even with some intensive tasks like gaming, I didn't face any real issues. Yes, with some heavy games, it did drop frames and stutter occasionally, but for the most part, the experience was smooth. The audio output via the dual rear speakers was loud and clear. As far as audio via the 3.5mm headphone jack goes, again, I had no issues. Next up, let's talk about battery life. On a looping video playback test, the A6000 lasted about 9 hours before running out of juice. In other words, getting through a day on a single charge should not be an issue. I used the A6000 as my secondary phone for a week before switching to using it as my primary for 4 days. My secondary phone is one which I use mostly for calls, a little browsing, and that's it. And while I was using the A6000 as my secondary device, I noticed something interesting. The standby train is extremely low. This was 5 days in and a good 2 hours of call time. And like I said, I didn't use it for much else, so screen on was just about an hour. But it's also worth noting that Wi-Fi was on all the time with push notifications enabled. So battery life on this little guy is stellar. Next up, let's quickly jump to the camera. The 8 megapixel rear shooter performs well. The images shot outdoors were pretty good. Sharp, ample detail, no issues with color. Indoors there was some noise, but given the price range, I find it acceptable. Surprisingly, the rear camera can only shoot 720p videos and not great ones either. Video quality was average at best. A little too soft for my liking, and the camera also hunts for focus quite often. The camera UI is pretty bare bones. We have the basic auto, panorama and video modes. Settings gives you again some basic options. There's not a lot here, but it does get the job done, so no complaints. Now we get to the software. The A6000 runs on Android 4.4 Kitkat with Lenovo's custom UI on top. There's no app drawer here, but you can install a third-party launcher if you really want it. We have quick toggles in the notification bar. You can swipe from the sides to switch wallpapers, press and hold the menu key for recent apps, and the home key for Google Now. With just 8 gigs of onboard storage, installing stuff could turn out to be a pain, but Lenovo allows you to choose your primary storage. Set it to force install to SD cards, and most things will install to the SD card. But keep in mind, this could break compatibility with some apps, so remember to switch back or leave it on auto if you don't want to go through the hassle. Well, Lenovo giving us the option is great. The lack of USB Otg support in contrast is pretty disappointing. Moving on, we have the regular Google apps here and also a bunch of Lenovo apps, but the UI doesn't really feel heavy. Apps open up quick, there's only the occasional lag, and most importantly, memory management is good. By memory management, I mean things like, say you type something on Facebook, before you post it you decide to jump out to another app, and you don't have to worry about Facebook being killed in the background. So memory management is pretty good on this device. So overall, seems like Lenovo's done a great job here. Now this brings us to the price. At 7,000 rupees or about $110 for my viewers from rest of the world, the A6000 seems to be a great deal. Yes, it's got its flaws, but I do feel that the pros do end up outweighing the cons. And thanks to the stellar build, the software and battery life, the A6000 makes you feel like you're using a more expensive device more often than not. And that is why, if you are in the market for a phone in this price range, and if you are able to buy it in a flash sale, I definitely recommend the A6000. It offers great value for your money. So that's what I feel. Do you agree? If not, do let me know why in the comments below. Anyway, if you do want to pick an A6000 up, you can do that via flipkart.com. I'll leave a link in the description down below. So I guess that pretty much brings us to the end of this review. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you found it useful. If you did, please do give this video a thumbs up. And for more videos like this, do stay subscribed. If you do have any feedback or any video requests for me, feel free to hit me up on my social networks. The direct links can be found in the description down below. Twitter is where I'm most active these days. So I guess that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.